Hi there. Welcome to the Gardens and Graveyard channel. My name is Charisma, and today we're meeting in the studio on a rainy, nearly winter day, and we're going to create an evergreen wreath. And we're doing it a little bit non-traditional. This isn't a Christmas wreath or a Yule wreath. This is just a bunch of different evergreens that we're going to put in little bundles and put on a wreath. So I went around the garden yesterday afternoon and collected a bunch of things from the garden, and I'm just curious to see how they hold up in a wreath, how they'll hold up, over a month or two. It'd be nice to have it extend through to the 1st of February-ish. That would be fun. So I'm not going to do like ribbons and bows and stuff like that because I don't want it to look Christmassy. I want it to look wintry. So I have this like pile of plants that we're going to play with, and I'm gonna walk you through the different plants that I collected, and then I will put them in little bundles that are aesthetically pleasing, and then we'll put them onto a wreath form. I'll talk about each step as I go along, but there's probably just gonna be a lot of like, watch me do, and then watch me talk. So let's get started with this. So to begin with, I'm going to take all these things off the table. And we'll just talk about each available component. So I still have this basket of dried eucalyptus leaves that I cut this summer. So that is an element that we could use. They're pretty dried up and a little bit wrinkly. Next year I want to try preserving them in glycerin to see if they hold up a little bit better. But it still gives that like blue color, which is really fun in the winter. Let's see. Let's put these down here. I want things to be accessible, but I don't want a big crowd in my face. All right, so let's keep going through these. I have some rosemary. Oops, a few things. I have some rosemary, which might make it smell really yummy, and it has kind of a needly kind of texture, kind of like an evergreen, right? And then I have just a small handful of these crab apples. Now this is like a wild crab apple that sprouted up in the outskirts of my property, but it was still holding on to some berries, so I thought it might be fun winter interest to put in there. So just a small handful of those, which I would probably put in at the last part of the wreath if they go in. Then I have a bunch of escallonia. It's growing all wild, so we'll cut these down so that they're more manageable. But the escallonia is kind of got like that boxwood look to it. And I have these guys, which I believe they're like angel wings or fishing wands. I don't know. I'll put the name up on the screen if I can find it. But it has these really sweet, teeny, tiny little black berries. Again, kind of, I don't know if you could see them. I can see those blackberries. Again, this would be something that I'll add at the end, just like a little wisp. So I'll put that off to the side here. I need to trim down my escallonia. The other thing that I got a whole lot of is our Evergreen Huckleberry. This also looks very much like a boxwood, and it, of all the plants so far, feels like the easiest to work with because it's not all dried up in one day. So I have a lot more of this on my property. We'll see if I need more for the wreath. But I did gather quite a bit. Again, we'll cut all this down before we begin. All right, and then the last thing that I gathered were some fir branches to give it that true evergreen wreath feel. These are pretty soft opposed to like a pine, but I still don't know how much of this I'll use. I might just tuck in like the tips here and there, the like strong sort of element of evergreen. We'll see what happens. I have 2 branches like that. I don't love working with them because they've got pitch, which is sticky, and their needles tend to give me a rash. So I'm going to start with cutting everything down so that it's a manageable product to work with, and then we'll talk about getting into the actual wreath making. All right, so these are my 3 main elements: the huckleberry, escallonia, and rosemary. So what I think I'm going to do now is make a bundle. Maybe I'll add that one in. I'm going to make a mock bundle, see how I feel about it, and see how many I'm going to need for my wreath ring, and then we'll get started. So, I'm just going to take this and a little bit more. question is, I have no idea if these are going to dry or not. It'd be fun if they did. Okay, so I like this little evergreen bundle that I have. Lots of different textures and colors. And so now I want to see about how many I'm going to need on my wreath ring. So I'm going to actually use this large wreath ring. This one is 18 inches. So we're going to start just kind of seeing how many I'm going to need to go all the way around. Just a kind of a guess. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm looking at probably close to 20 to 22. So I'm going to make 20 of these bundles, and then we'll see what we need at the end. Just be kind of easy to just go ahead and put them all together first. All right, so I have about half my bundles done, and I just kind of want to see where I'm at, and I need to make some more room on the table. So we're going to start the wreath. And so this time I'm using a metal wire wreath ring opposed to a natural wreath ring. And then I've got this floral wire. I've got this shiny red floral wire that I'm going to use. You really can't see it, and if you can, it's really not going to bug me that much. So the first thing I want to do is get my wire started. So I'm just going kind of crisscross with the middle of this wire ring right here, and twisting a couple of times to make sure it's good and secure. Just wrap that little tail around, and then we just want to make sure that the wire is on there good and tight, and then we can begin. I shouldn't need my pruners at this point. I'm just gonna set them over here. So the first thing I want to do is take my little bundle, and I'm going to place it right over where I put that first bit of wire. And then I'm going to pull my wire around the bundle all the way around the wreath ring 2 or 3 times. Oops. I just lost all my things. All right. And then I cut a small pile of the evergreen, and I'm going to place one little sprig of the fir in between each bundle. So what I want to do now is, you could see that this bundle is kind of facing out away from the inner side of the ring. I want to place this next piece kind of like right off to the side a little bit. And this will help give it a full look. So again, we're just gonna wrap, might lose some of these leaves here and there, it's fine. We're just gonna wrap the wire, wow. Wrap the wire around the leaf bundle and around the ring a couple of times. And we want to make sure that it's good and snug, but we don't want to pull so tight that it snaps the wire. We're going to leave the wire as one long loop all through this whole project. So then I'm going to take my next bundle, and this time I'm going to face it straight along the line of the wreath. And we want to place it down just a little bit so that you can see a little sneak of the evergreen. So we're just going to pull the wire around again, around the whole bundle, around the ring, nice and snug, a couple of times. And then I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna grab one of these little guys. I'm gonna place it down this time a little bit. We're just laying this over where the wire is. You don't see the wire. And then, let's see, what am I doing? Just do it a couple of times. Nice and snug. And then we grab another bundle. Kind of got messed up. Okay. We have another bundle. This one I'm going to face out. And then we take some evergreen and we put it straight on. These evergreens are kind of split, so it kind of goes both ways, but that's okay. And then we take a bundle, and this one we're going to put in. Snug. So then, like, you can see how there's wire showing right here. So then if I just layer it so that it covers that, and then we do another piece of evergreen, and so on and so on. All right, so that is how it's looking so far. Just a sweet mix of greens. So we're gonna go ahead and continue working on our bundles, and we could do the last part of this wreath. You could do all kinds of different shapes if you wanted, but I just want a full wreath this time. Set this to the side and keep pulling bundles. All right, round two. Same deal. There's 10 bundles and a whole bunch of evergreen clippings, and we're just gonna continue on with where we left off. So it looks like we had a bundle, so I'm gonna put evergreen. And then we'll grab this bundle, put it in. All right, so now we're at the top of the wreath, and you can see there's a little bit of a gap here. I'll put one more bundle here, but then we're gonna have to sneak the other one underneath this first bundle. Pretty simple. So you can see how there's just a little bit of a gap. And if we just take another bundle, we just take this bundle and we just lift this piece up and slip it underneath here, the stalks underneath here, like so. And then we just, it's this way. wrap it under there, and then this one can go over. And I'll probably add this last bit of greenery right here. One more wrap in there. Okay. All right, and then to end it, I just bring the wire to the back, lay the wreath down gently over here. Make sure it's all nice and snug. I cut off a little tail. And then I just wrap the wire to itself. And then I can take a look and see if there's gaps anywhere that I want to sneak in some plants. If there's anything sticking out that I don't like, I can clip it off. There's like a little bit of a gap right here. So we could just take another whole bundle and sneak it in there if we wanted. That might be too much. So I can just take a little bit of the honeysuckle and just sort of slip it into the existing wire, like so. Like this one. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a good look at it and see where I want to add anything. Mostly I'll be filling the gaps with the honeysuckle. There's like a little bit of missing evergreen right here that I can slip some evergreen into this spot. Looks a little light over here, so I think I'm going to put a whole bundle in this spot. All right, we're getting there. So I do want to see what the crabapple would look like on it, and then we'll maybe add it. So got these crab apples here, and they're a little tender and a little wild. So I'm kind of wanting like to leave the whole branch and maybe just let it be super wild. So I'm gonna play with that. I'm really just weaving these branches into the wreath ring. And if I have to, I can add some wire later. These branches kind of curve, so I'm just using the structure according to Mother Nature. Maybe I'll do this way. All right, so I think that's kind of fun, just to have a little extra branching, a little extra crab apple detail. So there it is. That is our winter wreath. We'll see how many of these elements will actually stay through the winter. Really not sure about this little guy, but I think if the leaves fall, the berries will stay, and that'll still be really sweet. And everything else should hang on for the next 6 weeks. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired to try something new. Just go out in your garden, forage, make something beautiful, and even if it only lasts for a couple of days, when we cut flowers and put them in a vase, they typically only last 3 to 7 days, right? So if I only get to enjoy this wreath for a week, I'll be happy with that. I would just really love it if it lasted through the winter. However, I hope that you are celebrating your life, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.